It is a weird feeling to be sitting back down and filming another YouTube video, but we are back. There has been so much going on in my personal life, but these YouTube videos and making these videos is what I keep coming back to. I love making these videos, I love watching YouTube videos, so this is just where my happy space is. So despite all of my inconsistencies and big breaks, I just always want to come back and make YouTube videos. So here we are again. Today I wanted to do a little reset for November, go over my TBR for this month, some of the projects I've been working on, and just some of my plans for this month. But November is going to be a very big month. I've got a lot going on. We're finally selling our house this month. Obviously the holidays are coming up, so just a lot of things going on. But I wanted to make sure I had time to sit down and share some of my hobbies that I'm going to be working on this month as well. My first little segment here I wanted to share is my TBR for November. I have been in such a weird reading, I don't know if I would call it a slump, but just like pattern this year. I started off really strong in like January, February, and then I just did not read a single book until July, August, I think. And then I've slowly been picking up again, and I'm now really out of a slump and I'm really loving reading again. A big part of that has been audiobooks for me recently. I spend about 2 hours in the car every day doing daycare drop off, and that is such a time suck. So I've been really loving using audiobooks to be able to kind of multitask during that time, and that's been a huge help for me being able to read through more books. I just, with everything going on, I just don't have much time to sit down with a physical book anymore, which is really unfortunate. So audiobooks have just been such a huge lifesaver for me. So 2 of the books that I've got on my TBR for this month are physical copies. The rest are either audiobooks or new releases, so I don't have a copy of them yet. And these are just books that are kind of on my radar. I call it a TBR just because that's like what they're called. But I'm not a huge fan in general of sticking to a set plan when it comes to my reading. So typically I just like to have a bigger list of books that are like on my radar, and things that I've kind of been eyeing for a little bit, things that are really intriguing to me for the season. So that's what this list is. It's by no means like a set plan for me. They're just books that I'm considering reading this month. So the first book that I want to talk about that I'm like 90% sure that I'm going to be reading this month is Twilight. Twilight to me is such a November book. There's something about the whole series that just gives November vibes to me. And I have not reread this in, I think, 3 years now. I think I read it in 2022. But this is just such a nostalgic book for me, and I've been seeing a lot of people online talking about Twilight again recently. So it's just been on my brain, so I thought I would give it a reread this season. This is actually not my original copy. I was obsessed with Twilight in middle school. I had a paperback copy of Twilight, which I read so many times that it just got destroyed and I had to toss it. I literally would read the whole book and then once I finished, just start it again. So I think it's definitely time for a reread. Maybe we'll do a movie marathon in there as well. I'm not sure if I will just read the first book. Honestly, if I read the first book, I'll probably just read the entire series and binge the whole thing. That's usually what winds up happening, but I do have a lot of other books that I want to read this month, so we'll see exactly where we end up, but I for sure want to read the first book this month. The second book that I have a physical copy of on hand that I want to read this month is Ninth House by Leigh Bardugo. This has been on my TBR for the fall time, basically every fall since it came out, and I've yet to read it, which is a little bit of a tragedy, and I just really want to get around to it. I initially was hoping to read this back in September because I feel like with the school setting, it kind of gives like start of the school year, September vibes. But I think November, honestly, for me is also very just dark academia, just the feeling of November. So I do think that this would still be a good fit for November. So hoping I get to this month. I don't have a copy of the second book, so it'll probably just be this book that I get to. I might wind up reading this on audio. I know it's available on Spotify, so depending on if I have credits or not, we'll see what format I choose for this. But if you have not heard of Ninth House, this follows our main character Alex, who gets sent off to Yale by these mysterious people to basically keep tabs on their secret societies. There's murder, there's maybe a little bit of magic. there's a lot going on. So I love a little bit of a murder mystery. I love an academic setting, especially like an Ivy League with secret societies. So I really think I'm gonna love this book. I'm really hoping for a 5-star read this month. It's been a minute since I've had a 5-star read, so I have high hopes that this might be one, but I will keep you posted. The rest of the books I do not have physical copies of, but I will post a little picture or something here so you can see the covers. But the next couple books or series that I'm working on is the Veronica Speedwell series. I have read the first 5 books so far. There's still 5 more books in the series that have been published. So I'm really hoping this month I can get to books 6 and 7. I currently have a hold placed on Libby for an audiobook copy. I'm hoping those become available this month, but I'm really loving this series. I'm so excited to get to the next 2. But if you are not familiar with the Veronica Speedwell series, I would highly recommend it. It is such a fun time. It's set in the late 1800s during the Victorian era in London. We follow Veronica Speedwell and her hot brooding sidekick Stoker. They're both natural historians, but they keep getting pulled into these various murder mysteries around town that they have to solve, and it's just a fun time. And obviously there's some tension between them. It's very, very slow burn. I love their dialogue, but I think if you were a fan of Sherlock Holmes, Enola Holmes, if you liked Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies, or like the natural history of dragons, I think this could be a really fun series for you. The next book on my list, I just wanted to mention, I am technically currently reading this, but I've only gotten like not even a chapter in. So I'm probably going to be finishing that up in November, so I just wanted to mention it, but that is Alchemised. I have not read Manacled, however, my sister's friend is absolutely obsessed with it, and so she's been telling us about it for ages. So when Alchemised came out and it kind of blew up everywhere, I figured I might as well check it out. I understand that they're very different from each other, but I think because I never read Manacled, that won't matter too much for me. I also don't know a ton about the actual plot or anything about Alchemised, other than that it is a very dark, Hermione fanfic remake, I guess. There are a ton of trigger warnings for this book. It is very dark, so definitely make sure you check those out if you are interested in reading it. It's also, I think, over 1,000 pages, so it's a big book. It's gonna take me a while to get through, but I'm very intrigued. But so far, like I said, I've only read like half a chapter or something, so I'm really not that far into it. And I'm just excited to read a book that I don't really know anything about. And then the last book on my TBR radar, I guess, it actually is being released today, so I'm gonna hopefully get a copy here pretty soon. And that is The Wrath of the Fallen by Amber V. Nicole. This is book 4 in the Book of Azrael series, which I've been slowly reading and really enjoying. I wouldn't say it's like an all-time favorite series of mine, but it's definitely been fun. I love the characters. I think there's like a good cast. And I'm pretty sure this is the final book in the series, so I'm very excited to see how it all kind of concludes. But this is a romantasy series that follows our main character, Diana, who lives in what is essentially Earth, but there's like magical creatures as well. And Diana used to be a human like 1,000 years ago, but she got turned into this like monster creature by her creator, Caden, and now she's basically forced to carry out his evil plans. Things just kind of go crazy from there. This is a very much like truly enemies to lovers romance, so if that is like your favorite trope, this might be the series for you. I don't think it's the most well-written series. There are some issues that I have with this series, but overall I've had a really great time with it. So those are all the books on my TBR for November. The next thing I wanted to share are some of the projects that I've been working on, as well as some of the projects I'm hoping to get started here this month. So as you guys may know, I have really gotten into knitting here the last couple months. I knit my very first sweater in the spring, and it's just kind of grown from there. So I've now finished a sweater and a couple pairs of socks, and if you want to see some of those projects or just kind of keep more up to date on my knitting and other things, you can follow me on TikTok. I do share a little bit more there. But I have 2 projects that I'm kind of in the middle of. My first project that I have been working on is sweater number 23 by My Favorite Things. I finished the entire body as well as the collar. I just finished that yesterday. So I just need to do the sleeves and then I'm done with this. I'm hoping, well, I need to buy some new needles because I don't have the right needle size. So I'm hoping to be able to finish this in November, but I need to order the needles first. So this is a little bit on pause for the moment, but I'm really loving the yarn that I chose. I think it's so fun. I'm using, let's see, I'll make sure I link everything down below, the colors, the yarn, patterns, everything like that. But for this sweater, I am using Lana Grossa Colorissimo in the color 207, I believe. And then I'm holding that with sandnes garn, tynn silk mohair in the color 3535, which is like, let me actually just show you. So these are the two yarns that I'm holding together. And obviously the mohair is what's making the overall sweater look a little bit more of that rusty color. Otherwise it would be much more stripy, which personally I love. I love how the colors are kind of blending together a little bit more than they otherwise would be. Plus the mohair just makes the whole thing so much softer. As far as like the fit goes, it fits fine. It is super oversized though. I'm not 100% sure about that. I had such a hard time picking the right size and the right needle size because this isn't the yarn that the pattern calls for. So I knit a couple different swatches and kind of based my decision off of which swatch, like which fabric I liked the best, and then picked a size based on that. So this is what we've got. I'm not 100% sure on it yet. We'll have to see once it's like finished fully and blocked with sleeves and everything. It might be a little bit too oversized for my personal preference. So I might try shrinking it a little bit in the dryer, but that sounds terrifying. So we'll see exactly what winds up happening with this. So yeah, this is where we are so far. Just need the sleeves and then that'll be done. And then the other project that I'm currently working on is this pair of socks. This is the Falling Leaves socks by Renarde endormie. I believe that's how you pronounce the designer. But this is my first time trying any sort of color work and I think it's going okay. I still need to work on my technique. I'm just like, I knit English style right now. And I cannot get the hang of continental to save my life. So I'm just like dropping each color and picking up the other color when I'm knitting this. So it's just very slow. I'm hoping this month to be able to focus a little bit more on learning how to hold, you know, one color in each finger, because I would love to knit a little bit more quickly than I currently am, and I think that would just help me a lot. And since there isn't any purling with this, at least not, you know, in the main part of the sock, I think this might be a good option for me to practice doing continental knitting. As far as the yarn for this, I'm using Knit Pick Stroll, obviously in 3 colors. It's a very dark navy, the taupe, and then the orange. The orange I know is called Pumpkin, and the other 2 I can never remember to save my life. So I will definitely have that listed down below if you're interested in making these socks. But so far I'm really loving it. I think it's so fun to do the color work. Reading the pattern was a little bit intimidating at first, but we got there. We're figuring everything out as we go. But again, hoping to get this pair finished pretty quickly here before like fall is over, so I can at least, you know, wear them while it's seasonally appropriate. The next project that I'm hoping to get finished up this month is I'm making a little felt garland with these little stars. I've made probably about, I don't know, 20 stars or so at this point. I've got a couple more to do, and then I just want to crochet a little chain to hang them on. I think that'd be fun, and then hang them up in my room somewhere. I just thought this would be like a really cute, like whimsical little craft to do in the background of some of my other hobbies. But this so far has been really fun. It's taken a bit longer than I was thinking it would, but I'm also not like really focusing on it that much. So again, hopefully I can get this wrapped up this month. And I'm not following any sort of pattern or anything for that. I just printed out a picture of a star, traced it on some felt, cut it up, and now I'm using embroidery floss to kind of stitch everything together and stuffing it with scrap pieces. And then my last kind of craft project that I've been working on here, especially this week, is some decorations for my son's birthday. He turned 3 yesterday actually, but we're having his birthday party this weekend. So I've been making some of the decorations for his little party, which I'm so excited about. I love planning little kid birthday parties. I think it's so fun. But the theme I'm going for this year is just very like colorful, a little bit whimsical, kooky, crafty, I guess. I didn't want to spend a whole ton of money on a themed birthday party this year. I wanted to focus on making things that I could maybe reuse in the future. So the first thing that I've made is a bunch of these paper chains out of just rainbow construction paper. I think these are so fun, and I'm just gonna hang them all over the ceiling, basically around like the light fixtures and whatnot. But I am hoping I'm able to like save these and use them in the future. I might hang one up in my room, honestly, we'll see. But I just think these are fun. So I'm hoping that I can store them in a way that doesn't obviously like damage them in any way, because I love the idea of being able to reuse especially birthday party decorations in the future. I feel like that gives such a nostalgic feeling, being able to look back on all of the photos and just the memories of birthdays and being able to reuse a lot of those decorations year to year. I don't think my parents did a ton of like decorating, if I remember, but my mom was always really good about making our own birthday cakes, and she would try to go all out with like the decorating and just like the theme for the birthday in the birthday cake. And that always felt so special that she took the time and the energy to give us like a homemade fun birthday cake. So I'm doing my best to be able to kind of emulate some of those things with my own kids. I'm definitely not gonna be able to do it for my son's birthday this year, but I'm hoping for next year for their birthdays that I can make like an embroidered felt happy birthday banner. I think that would be so fun. I've also seen people do birthday crowns each year, and I think that's adorable, so maybe I'll be able to do some of that as well in the future. But for right now, I'm just doing like some simple things that hopefully I can store long term and just kind of slowly add to our birthday decor collection, I guess. So the paper chains I think I'm done with. I think I have enough of those. So now I'm currently working on cutting out 1,000,000 stars out of this holographic paper, and I'm just gonna thread some string or something through them to kind of create like a star garland. But yeah, again, I just printed out a template of a star online and just traced a bunch of them and cut them out. This took probably an hour or two the other day for me to cut all these out. But those are some of the birthday crafts that I'm doing this week as well. But yeah, I think those are all of my current projects that I have going on. I do always have like a scrapbook for my kids that I'm working on in the background. I don't love to share that online just because I don't really want to share their faces online. But I'm having a really fun time with that. I'm kind of slowly gathering like a bunch of scrapbook supplies and stickers for like birthdays and holidays and stuff like that. And then I've also got my reading / hobby journal, which I share pretty regularly, so we're going to be setting that up here at the end. But before we do that, I just wanted to quick share a couple of the projects that I'm hoping to get started here this month as well. So like I said, I'm hoping to be able to wrap up all of my current projects this month, so that I kind of have a clear slate going into like the holiday season. So the first project that I'm for sure doing, I already have all the yarn for. I want to make like a really fun holiday top. I want it to be kind of form-fitting with like flared sleeves. I think that'd be really fun, and maybe like a boat neck collar. I have a couple patterns in mind for this, but I'm not fully set on that yet. But the yarn that kind of inspired this top is this sparkly velvet yarn. I was out shopping for other yarn and I just happened to see this and I really just fell in love with it. I think the process of knitting this top is not going to be that enjoyable because it's just like the velvet isn't fun to work with, but I think the end result will be really, really interesting. So I'm really hoping to be able to get this at least started. I would love to be able to have this finished by Thanksgiving. I don't know if that's totally realistic, but we can be ambitious. And then I do have one other project that I have purchased some yarn for. My parents went to Scotland over the summer and they were very kind to buy me some yarn while they were there. So they brought me back this pure Hebridean wool. It's made at one of the castles there, just like the sheep that they have at the castle. So I thought that was really fun and cool, but it is just this very, very dark undyed Hebridean wool. It is very rustic feeling and I only have 2 skeins of it, so I really think a pair of mittens would be fun to use this for. So I did find a pattern that I really love and would love to make this with. I believe it's called the Northman mittens. I'll make sure that's correct on the screen, but I think I'd like to do the base in this dark color, and then I need to get a secondary color for the color work. I'm thinking like a beige would be fun. And then the one thing I really love about this pattern specifically is that the inside of the mittens are like a contrast color, so I think it'd be really fun to do like a cornflower blue or maybe like a yellow or something. So I still need to buy the rest of the yarn for this project, but that is another one that I'm hoping to at least get cast on this month, so that they're ready in time for when it gets really bitterly cold here. So those are all the projects that I kind of have in the works, that I'm hoping to get started this month. And then after that, I'm going to be transitioning, I think, into more of my Christmas knits. But I think that is everything that I have to share. There's a lot of projects going on. I'm hoping, like I said, to get a lot of them wrapped up this month. Just kind of pare down on the number of things that I'm working on. But before we end this video, I do definitely want to share my reading journal setup for November. So let's get right into that. Alrighty guys, well that is everything I have to share with you in this video. I hope you enjoyed spending some time with me and hearing all about my little projects and reading plans. I'm hoping that I can really get back into the swing of things with filming YouTube videos again. But like I said earlier, if you want to follow me over on TikTok for some more regular content, I do post pretty regularly over there as well. And I am also planning on filming some weekly hobby vlogs over here going forward, so make sure to stay tuned for those. I think those will be really fun. So if that sounds fun to you, make sure to subscribe. Let me know down below what your hobby plans are this month. I love to hear about that. But with that, I will see you guys in the next video. Bye!